just saw a guy that got a bunch of years in prison. I don't know who he is, but he was an influencer. His name was like Bankroll Jones or Bankroll Willie or so. I forgot it, but it was something like it was like Bankroll something. And then I saw an episode of American Greed where you had it was real interesting. Like it's so interesting how the church blends with ratchet culture. So you know one of those real ratchet churches where you think you're talking about Jesus, but really half your shit is demonic. Excuse my French. Like that, right? So they would go to church, and because everybody in the church feels the need to kind of feel like they're fitting in with the culture, they became very popular in that space, like that religiously ratchet kind of blend. And they I think they both got prison time because what they were running was something that I want to warn you guys about. It's called a blessing loom. Has anybody ever seen the blessing looms? How they just it's like financial magic. Like only Jesus could pull off a blessing loom. Because you know how Jesus like took one fish and fed 10,000 people or something. Like a blessing loom's kind of like that, right? You got to believe in a miracle to even think that this can work mathematically because the math ain't mathing. So what a blessing loom is where somebody will send you an email and they understand the psychology. They know how to use all the terminology that's going to get you triggered. Like they'll talk about Jesus and God and blessing other people, and then they'll talk about like black in the community and generational wealth and all this other stuff, right? Like they'll literally, it's real funny. They'll literally be like using like even Boyce Watkins type language, like we must build generational wealth for our community, family. This is what we got it, right? And what they'll do is they'll say like, okay, if you put in $500 and you get two other people to put in $500, then we're all going to have $20,000. Like it's like this weird multiplication that does not fit any mathematical theory I've ever seen. I taught math. I taught math at Kentucky. We the blessing loom mathematicians could not do that because it's a lie. It's not true. It's a Ponzi scheme. But these were very popular, especially during the pandemic. Lots of people were pushing out these things, and the thing about Ponzi schemes that make them difficult to really point out the problem is that not everybody loses in a Ponzi scheme. Not everybody loses money. There are people in the center or the people that create it, they can make lots of money for a while, so it's not like everybody loses. And to some extent, what's interesting though, what I have to lay out too though, is that some people say that parts of capitalism is a little bit of a Ponzi scheme too. Like so I'm not sitting there trying to say like that this does not happen in other so-called more legitimate parts of the world. But the difference is though, at least with things like financial markets and stuff like that, is that you have regulations in place that are designed to at least do some work to protect consumers, right? And the thing about making money that I found that confuses a lot of people is that you don't know what's the false guide. Like something, a lot of things sound good, but you don't know what really is good. And a lot of times you have to pay a high price to learn these things, to find these things out. So maybe that's something I can offer you as a person who studied money for a long time, is to show you where to stay away from, because the world of money is like a big, gigantic city where there are some blocks where you're going to get robbed, right? Some neighborhoods you don't want to go into, but then there's some neighborhoods that are peaceful, happy, and prosperous, and you got to participate. Everybody needs money. The government prints so much money that inflation will never go away. And because inflation will never go away, you can't just save your way to wealth. It kind of sucks. You have to do things like participate in the stock market where the wealth is being created, because that is the only thing that allows you, or one of the few things that allows you to make wealth that exceeds inflation. The other ways are things like owning real estate and stuff like that. So anyway, with these blessing looms, that's kind of what they do.